So I have been thinking about something, and as you all know, thinking is a dangerous sport. And this really impacts belonging, the workplace, communication, conflict resolution, connecting. And it's how we speak love, care towards each other. And I want to talk about this for a few minutes because one person's care language, the way they communicate, is different sometimes than another person's. And if we don't understand that, it can create hurt, confusion, all sorts of things. And a lot of times we're not taught how to be aware of ourselves and who we are and what we like. And if we have demonstrative people or people around us who all like the same thing and we like something different, a lot of times we're told we have to conform to what the majority likes instead of having that individualistic perspective or finding others who are more similar to us. So, I'm going to talk about something a little personal here so that you can kind of understand. I grew up in a family that most of their care language or love languages were acts of service. Now, that is not mine. And there became a situation of you need to serve in this situation because this person's done a lot for you. And to me, it was like, I don't feel comfortable with that. That's not how I'm expressing care or love. And to me, that's like, yeah, they did a lot for me, but I've also done stuff for them too. It became this really uncomfortable conversation. And as I'm talking about this, I really want to bring this up. It had more to do with the way they viewed care than the way I viewed care. And it created conflict because of that viewpoint. And what needed to happen was a crucial conversation of this is the way I see that we care for someone. How do you see we care for someone? Okay. Then we can have these conversations. Because if you keep forcing someone to care or to receive care the way that they don't, it causes harm. It's another form of bullying. It's a lack of understanding or reading the room. So, but these always tell you a lot about someone and how people do things. So how does that impact the workplace? Well, it impacts the workplace a lot. I know someone who told me that they became a manager and they cleaned up the office doing something that would be cleaning up an office because their love language or care language was acts of service. Now, other managers may not have done that, but that sets a precedent for other people to do that when that may not be that person's care language. That's how that impacts it. Because now someone else may come in and their care language may be words of affirmation, or what if their care language is touch? How do you navigate that? This becomes very important to the belonging space. How do we communicate and have respectful and honoring conversations and it also, where do you place people? Because this also is a very huge factor in where you place people in the workplace. Because if someone is going to be more about words and they're going to be able to write with, and we have AI tools, but if they're going to be able to put amazing prompts in or do things along those lines, put them there. Whereas if someone's going to be more with acts of service, then you need to be putting them somewhere else. Do you see what I'm saying? This plays a factor in where we position people and what we have people positioned to do. Huge factor. This plays a huge factor in belonging because you're not asking someone to do something that is not in their wheelhouse of how they process information. So that same family member, when they asked me to write a card, do you know how quickly I went and got that card and wrote that card? Because that was a gift and that had words. I would have done that so quickly because that's how I communicate. In fact, part of the reason I did my second TED Talk was because of that particular family member. And I sat down with that family member and showed them my second TED Talk to say, hey, this is my gift to you. Now think about that. If you have someone in your office that's really good with gifts, and the gifts don't have to be something huge. They can be something super small, but they're thoughtful because when that person's about gifts, they're thinking about what gifts that person would like and what gifts they would like. Then maybe they're the ones who are supposed to be like the follow-up after you work with a client. They're the ones who are supposed to make sure that the clients are getting, the acclimates or, a gift at the holiday season or the birthday, what when your clients' birthdays are, and you send out a happy birthday and you have them send like maybe a little something, and you have that person in charge of that. Do you see how that works? And how we can partner with each other on this to make our businesses better. When we are aware, when we know, and we know how that particular way that person does care is bent towards. But we cannot have that person fully flourish if we're telling them how they're supposed to do it, or telling them they should be doing it a different way or in a whole different language that isn't theirs. Like I like to say, if you come at me with a care language that isn't mine, it's like you're speaking in the Swedish chef language or beaker language from the Muppets going, or I'm not going to understand that. It's not going to work for me. It just doesn't. But if you speak to me in my language, I'm going to understand it. And this is where we have to learn what each other's language is and learn how to communicate and connect, and how do we navigate and we work with each other so that everyone is feeling like they're cared for. Everyone is feeling like they belong. That is what I'm talking about. And when you do this, your company will flourish, because you not only will you have an inclusive work environment, but you'll also have you will tell your customer base that they're included as well and that they matter, and they're going to want to be a part of this. And the conflict will go down, which means costs will go down, and your innovation will go up, loyalty will go up, which means profits will go up. So these are reasons why I talk about this. And not only that, when you do this in your life, your peace goes up. Your skill level starts to go up because you start to know yourself, and you start to care about yourself, and you start to care about others, and you start to be more skillful in how you handle things because you want to be kind towards yourself and towards others. So this ends up being a win-win situation in all areas. And I wanted to share that because we all need to be win-win with each other, and we can be. So on that note, I hope that this was helpful. I like to always end on a note, and hopefully it's a positive one. And I will talk to you next time. Bye for now.